What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? What's up, the Fighting News TV fans? We got a great show for you tonight. Me and Matt and Mike, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today. First of all, I want to thank Fusion CBD for all your CBD needs and products. Go to fusioncbdproducts.com. A lot of fighters use this products. They have the sleep and recovery capsules. They have the CBD capsules, hemp product. They have the energy and focus pre-workout capsules. This is really good. And then when your muscles are aching, shoulders, joints, this is the CBD Instant Freeze. This stuff is the bomb. I already tried this. This is good stuff. And, they have the CBD vape, the vape kit in different flavors. Pour it in, do the vape. So thank you, Fusion CBD, for those products. Go to fusioncbdproducts.com. Right here, the Fighting News discount. Mention the Fighting News. Get a 15% off when you use the codes the Fighting News at checkout. They have the Fusion water, CBD water. They also have, how they started was with coffee, CBD coffee. And then it turned into all these great products because everyone was asking them, listen, anything with Fusion name on it, with CBD in it, we're in. So they got a huge following of CBD products. So let's see if Matt is available to come on. Matt is backstage. You ready? Thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. And we got Matty Matt in the house, my co-host as usual, Matt Benno, the man, the myth, the legend. What's up?
I was just taking a nap, but I heard you say all those exciting things about Fusion CBD, and that woke me right up. So I figured I'd come on here, I'd do the show with you. Check out Fusion CBD, because not all CBD is treated the same. So which CBD you be? That's what I want to know. Which CBD you be?
Which
You're not
CBD
Fusion.
you be?
That's it. So anyway.
Kobe Chaos Covington uses this stuff. Hector Lombard, a plethora of MMA guys and boxers and all this stuff. They all use this stuff. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship guys use this stuff. They sponsor Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships, BKFC. I don't know if you saw the last one, but they were all over the ring and they were on TV and they were big things happening for this company, for sure.
They're all over the place, all over the place. I mean, but that's it. You told the people the ball is in their court. The ball is in their court. They're going to go there. They're going to use the code, the Fighting News, and they're going to be happy. Their aches and pains are going to go away, maybe. And that's what we hope for. So anyway, we have a guest with us who I think is having a little technical difficulties. All right. Marcos Escudero.
Yes, sir.
I hope I pronounce it. He's got to be on here to make sure I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. Escudero. Marcos Escudero. All right. From Argentina. He's a light heavyweight. He's a prospect. And he was an undefeated prospect up until his last fight that he had with a man named Joseph George back in November 2019. And he lost a very, 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 let me say that again, very controversial decision. It was the whole fight. I would say maybe he lost 2 rounds at the most at a 10-round fight. And it was lopsided. He threw way more punches and he was connecting with most of them. And he clearly won the fight. For a light heavyweight, he was throwing over 100 punches in the beginning rounds. I think he averaged, by the end of the fight, like 94 punches a round, which for a light heavyweight is pretty good. So he's got the rematch with his Joseph George and is scheduled for August 1st. It's going to be on Showbox. And it's also going to be televised on that TYC network. That's the same one that did that WBA event that we went to. And, they're popular down in Latin America. Who are you waving to?
I'm waving at Mikey Mike, who's in the background.
Oh, Mike's back there.
Mike.
All right.
.sell.rent.
Okay.
Feinberg.
You can bring Mike in.
There
he is, with that famous background.
My famous background.
Yeah.
Mikey Mike. Look at my background right here, Fusion CBD.
All right, so we were just we're waiting for Marcos, and hopefully he'll be on shortly. 7:00 was the time, so gave a little bit of background on him, and we'll wait until to talk about him more once he shows up. But Mike, in the meantime, what do you think about? There's so many exciting weight divisions in boxing today. What do you think about the light heavyweight division?
Man, the light heavyweight division is stacked.
Stacked.
It really is.
Stacked.
And there's a lot of good matchups on the horizon. We just got to sit tight and wait for them. But they did announce one I was going to talk about later in the show, but we might as well bring it up while we're waiting on Marcos. You've got Joe Smith Jr. and Eleider Alvarez, August 22nd. It's going to be Showtime's first fight card since this pandemic began. That is a major fight, guys. I mean, Joe Smith Jr. just took out Jesse Hart. Jesse Hart, of course, beating Sullivan Barrera. Joe Smith Jr. is the guy who ended Bernard Hopkins' career, if you guys remember, a few years back. And you got Eleider Alvarez, the last guy to knock out Sergey Kovalev.
Yes.
Prior to his, I wouldn't say mismatch, prior to his exciting fight against Canelo Alvarez.
Canelo.
But, those two guys are amazing. And Alvarez's only loss is that rematch to Kovalev, if you remember. So, two great guys. And the guy that they're not talking about right now, which I'm kind of wondering why, is Gilberto Ramirez, Zurdo, right?
Right.
Former super middleweight champ. I mean, that man is amazing. He beat Jesse Hart twice. He's got a pretty good resume of his own, and he's on the cusp of a belt. But those champions, man, you got two champions in that division right now. You had four just a year ago. Canelo obviously beat Sergey. But he gave up the belt. He's not going to fight at light heavyweight again, so it's vacant right now. Somebody's got to fight for that belt. It's going to be one of the names I just mentioned, I'll tell you that. And as far as the two champs that you do have out there in Bivol, who I think is just an amazing fighter.
He's a killer.
And then you got Artur Beterbiev, and Beterbiev just dominated in his unification bout against Gvozdyk, Teddy Atlas's fighter there, the guy who knocked out Stevenson.
Right.
So Beterbiev, who's got the fewest fights out of that group of guys I just mentioned, may be the most devastating one. So it's just there's not enough on him to really say he's done this or that. But his resume may not be built yet, but that's a guy everybody's got to watch out for.
Right. So these guys who are moving up, all right, Marcos and Joseph George, they were both, their last fight, it was a step-up fight for both of them. They were both undefeated. It was a night of rising prospects that they fought each other, so they were both undefeated. Marcos lost the controversial decision or whatever. These guys are moving up. I think Joseph George is maybe ranked 10 or 11 now, and Marcos is a little bit behind them. But after this rematch, we'll see. And it's it's an exciting time in the career of both of those fighters.
For sure.
So,
I mean, it looked like a crossroads fight when it was first set up, and obviously because of the result, that you're going to see it again. So if either one of those guys can dominate, they'll definitely be on the scene as a potentially one of those guys I just mentioned, or at least
Marcos.
Fights away from them.
Exactly.
Ready?
We are ready.
What's up, Marcos?
There he is. How you doing, sir?
What's up? I'm doing good.
Okay. So you're up there. You're in Connecticut now, correct?
I'm in Connecticut now, exactly. Locked in the room, in quarantine, living in the bubble. But
Living in the bubble.
happy to be here. Yeah,
Right, and your fight is on Saturday, August 1st.
exactly.
Okay. So I don't know if you heard our discussion before. We were talking about, we didn't get into the specifics, but we all came to the conclusion that as well as most of the boxing world, that you definitely got ripped off in that decision against Joseph George. At the most, I would have given him 2 rounds. One of the middle rounds, I think it was 5 or 6. He got a couple of good shots on you, and then maybe round 9. But other than that, I thought your output of punches was well beyond his. You were throwing over 100 punches in some of those beginning rounds. Tell us your point of view on that. What do you think about that?
I agree. There's the same view. Worldwide watching the same fight. I felt the same feeling that you feel. My opponent, I think so. My opponent, he get a gift. He really know. We are the fighter. We deep inside, we know who win the fight. When you lose and when you lost. That was my feeling. I've been working. I've been busy the whole fight for 10 rounds, throwing more than 100 punches per round. I really like you. Probably I will give him 2 rounds, the round number 5 and the 9, but no more than that. So I think so. I work enough to get the victory, but it is boxing.
Yeah, exactly. And we are used to seeing controversial decisions, but in your case, the audience, everyone was booing. The announcers were like, "Oh, what? How could this be possible? I don't know what fight these guys were watching." They were using the word lopsided. When we announced it, they used the word lopsided like 10 times, which is really what it was. It was a lopsided fight, and that's the way it was. Yeah, that round 8.
Nice.
We'll get to round 9 in a minute. In round 8, I heard George's corner say to him, "You lost the last 2 rounds. You need to step it up." And so he went into round 9 and he tried to step it up. Yeah. And he caught you with a couple of good shots, and you were staggered a little bit, but you did the right thing. You hung on to him and you recovered, and then you got right back on him. So that, I could see the judges giving him that round, but after that, and then round 10, you came out. I mean, most people would have gone into that round 10 and say, "Oh, I got this. I know I'm ahead on the cards. I'll just lay back a little." You didn't do that. You kept going after him, and you fought till the end, and you were throwing combinations, 8, 10 punches at a time, and it was a great fight to watch. It was a great fight to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Really great fight to watch. Really entertaining fight. Also, like you say, when I feel, I know when the fighter know when we lost the round. No, we win him. When I felt he caught me a good shot in round number 9, I say, okay, I know I am over in the card, but I want to close the fight. I don't want to leave nothing out of the box. Just I want to make sure everything is right. No, don't be surprised with any judge. And then the round number 10, I started to work. Also, I was so tired, even throwing punches like a heavy bag, trying to, yeah, I can, knock him down. That would be better, but I had really no enough energy to catch him with a really power shot. But that was what I did. Throw many the punches to close the fight, to close the last round, the championship round, like everybody say. That's what I did. But once again, it is boxing. You never know what's going on.
And that was your first 10-round professional fight.
No, that was
correct?
the second one.
This is your second 10-round fight, but yeah, to be fighting at that pace in the 10th round, I mean, your cardio is off the charts as far as I'm concerned. Most guys are worn out. Yes, you got a little bit tired, but the output was still there, and the activity was still there. So, I mean, he was tired. He was tired too. That's for sure. But what do you do? How do you change up your strategy going into the next fight, knowing that you did everything right in the first fight?
That's hard. That was hard, but the most important for me was change my team. I would change. I was working with Mooney, Charles Mooney,
Right.
and then I meet with Coach Cape Cunningham, and I know him for a long time. I know he has been working with many world championships. Um, he know everything about world championships camp. He know everything about my nutritional, my strength and conditional, my strategy, and everything. And we agree. We sometimes we meet in a sparring session. I was like sparring in his boxing gym. We have been talking a little bit, and then he said, "Hey man, I watch you fight the Robert, the Stolen. You have to back up, get what is yours." Then I say, "Yeah, I know, okay, it is boxing, and sometimes it's more than just a fight. Sometimes you have to get the right team in your back, the right people in your back." That is what we did. We changed the team. Now we have been working like for 8 months a role for this fight, because they rescheduled again like twice. I was supposed to fight in March, and they canceled it to July, and now we are a few days away to the rematch.
Right. So with your old team, do you think there might have been some kind of inside politics or something like that at play for
No,
the
no,
decision?
no. I don't say that. I don't say that. What I say is sometimes you have to get the right team with power, because for example, right now I have Kev Cunningham and Stacey McKean in my corner. That's way different than somebody else who nobody know in your corner. That's way different. Get Kev Cunningham, Stacey McKean in your corner.
Right. Is there anything in particular they've been working on you with in preparation for this next fight?
Yeah, we've been working a little bit in my defense, in changing the angle, be more effective. I think so. That's gonna be the key for this fight, because I know I can throw punches for 10 rounds a roll. I know, and I already proved that. But now the key is be more effective to don't go to the scorecard.
Right.
Looking for
Exactly.
that KO.
Exactly. That is.
Yeah,
Absolutamente.
I did see one thing that you put up on Instagram. You were hitting the heavy bag with the baseball bat. Tell us about that.
That was he looked. That was how he looked. He looked only surviving around me, and me following him, throwing punches like a heavy bag. He only protect, uh, you know, blocking my punches. But that was like I get tired not to get punched in my face. I get tired to throw punches like a heavy bag.
Right. Now I'm talking. You posted a video. You were hitting the heavy bag with a baseball bat
I got
in
you.
the gym. Was that you were training for? Tell us about that. Were you training for power or rotation or what?
Yeah, rotation, power, everything. We have been doing a lot of the exercise, swimming in the pool, running in the beach, like a baseball player, batting the heavy bag. What else? We have been going to the strength and conditioner coach. We wait. Um, we are ready for 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 made it happen. We are ready for a while. We are ready for a while, and he already know me. He know that he already lost the fight, and he know he had to be ready to a war again, to go to get some bumps.
Yeah, well, we're really looking forward to seeing that. That's going to be exciting. That's going to be exciting. So this is in the lower left corner, which hopefully he'll stay there for a few minutes. Steve likes switching around the squares, like he's solving one of those puzzles. But Mike's got some questions for you about the light heavyweight division we were talking about before. So go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Marcos, how you doing, buddy?
Hi, Michael. Nice to meet you.
Hey, first thing, if you're able to turn your phone sideways, we'll be able to get a broader view of you. The fans can see it a lot better. Oh, well, you had it.
Like
there
that?
it is.
There it is.
Now you match up, so you fill the screen much better. That's good. So, so first of all, congratulations on your career thus far. You've obviously, proven that you can put some wins behind you, and starting out 10-0 is definitely, a great feat.
Thank you.
As Matt said, obviously, the majority of people saw that you got robbed in that last decision, and that's obviously why this rematch is coming up. If that rematch weren't here, that would be the case. So you said now you're with Kevin Cunningham. I heard a little bit about what you were talking about here. So just in summary, again, my understanding here is that you're with Kevin because you want to be more effective. And with that effectivity, are you looking at aggression? Are you looking to be more aggressive with your punches, stronger with the shots?
Exactly, you say that. But I not only change my team for the fight. I change my team for everything, for the connection, for politics, for the way he work, for the way he thinking about boxing, for the way he breathes boxing. He have been, like I say again, he have been working with 11 world championships, and that makes different. That is different. That's way different. But yeah, absolutely, we have been working in being more aggressive. Not only aggressive, effective. That's the word.
Okay. Well, yeah. First of all, Kevin Cunningham, I have a lot of respect for that man. You're right. I mean, he's proven that he's one of the best in the business. So how long have you been with Kevin now?
For 9 months. Excuse me, 8 months, because we started to work in January 2020.
Yeah. So
and you said also with Stacy McKinley?
With Stacey McKinney, he joined force like 3 months ago.
Okay.
So you got
he trained Mike Tyson.
Right.
Yeah,
you got a couple of superstars in your corner for sure. And we know Stacy for a while as well. And so that being said, it almost seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but with the extension of having to cancel the fight and postpone and delay, you're getting a lot more time to get to know these camps, to get to know these trainers. It almost seems as if now this August 1st fight, you're going to have a lot more experience with your team than you would have had that fight happen several months ago.
Excuse me, say again the question?
I was just saying it seems like, it's kind of a blessing in disguise a little bit with these delays and these postponements, because it seems like you now have a lot more time with these camps to get to know exactly what is they're asking of you.
Absolutely. We already get 8 months for this fight. Now we 8 months working. We decide to keep. That's way difficult right now. I really understand him. He understands me. We know each other. I know what he was looking for my craft, to work in my craft. What I say again is we're gonna be trying to be more effective. I think so. He had huge problem when he go backwards, and we saw that in the tape, and that's why we're gonna take advantage.
Okay. So what Matt and I were talking about just before you came on the show, just to kill a little time, is just the state of the light heavyweight division at this point in time. And I mentioned to Matt when he asked me what I thought of the division, that it's just an absolutely stacked division. I mean, I don't think I've seen the light heavyweight division this active with superstars for the longest time, and probably not back since the day of Joe Calzaghe and all those guys, Mikkel Kessler. But you got a couple of champions out there. You got a lot of guys on the cusp of championship. Where do you fit into this right now? I mean, I know you don't want to look ahead past your current opponent, but should you be able to take care of business? Should you get the knockout over Joe and move on from there? Are you looking to really step it up from there? Are you looking to take it easy a little bit and wait for things to fall into place? Where do you fit into that picture?
Well, I show it the last fight. I am ready to be anybody. I have been working. I have been doing sparring with Andre the Red. He's moving to 175 now. So I've been doing sparring with Steve Jafar, with a lot of the guys. They already have been there in the top in my division with Sullivan Barrera too. And I know what kind the power, what kind the strategy I need to be there. So I already proved when we did the sparring, and I come to United States not to get some shortcut, not to fight with I don't know how to say with somebody else. I want big names. I want James Pascal. I want the championship because I want to take over my weight division. It's like you say, not right now. No, we don't have in the division any huge name, any famous name, any star. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going for everything.
Okay, so you're ready for those guys. I smiled a little bit when you said Jean Pascal because, Steve knows, interviewing Jean Pascal many years ago, back when he fought in Hollandale, he told me exclusively, he said, I'm retired. I'm done. I'm not coming back. And he said, if I say I'm retired, that means I'm really not coming back. And
Wow.
he came. And so here he is. Not only is he coming back, but look what he's been doing.
Yeah, I think so. He's the name for me, great name because he's older. He fought with everybody. But when he had really tough opponent like Kovalev, when he fought really tough name, he never get the win.
Right.
So now he beat the guy Mayweather. The guy, I don't remember the name.
He beat Marcus Brown. He looked good.
He beat Marcus Brown, and then he beat the Northern one. The last fight he fought.
Yeah. It's eluding me too, but I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
He beat Marcus Brown, but Marcus Brown he never fought anybody. He is a really good fighter, but he never was a really world championship. So I think so. He's the name. James Pascal is older now. He's almost retired, and I'm waiting for that fight. I can't wait for that fight.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of big names out there, and we were discussing. You got a really huge fight, I'm sure you know, on August 22nd coming up here. That's between Eleider Alvarez and Joe Smith Jr. And very curious to see how that fight goes. How do you think, in your opinion, how do you think that their styles match up, and what do you feel the result will be?
I really like the Stone Alvarez. He beat the Kovalev, but the guy Smith, he's a tough guy. He's a tough guy. I think it's gonna be a really entertaining fight. But I really don't know what's going on. I think so. They are in the same level. They're in the same level. It's gonna be a really entertaining fight. Yeah, I don't know.
And so let me ask you this: as far as the top of the division right now, there's only two champions holding belts since Canelo vacated his. So you got two guys holding three belts. You got Artur Beterbiev and you got Dmitry Bivol. Two guys at the top, both undefeated. Bivol's got the better resume. He's been knocking guys out one after the next. But then you got Beterbiev, who just put on a show against Gvozdyk, who we thought was, that man back then too. Between those two guys,
who beat Beterbiev? Who beat Beterbiev? Yeah, I know he knocking out everybody, but who world championship? He beat a lot of fighters by knockout, but nobody knows them. So
nobody knows, right? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that.
Yeah, Bivol has a better resume. Bivol's fought tougher guys.
Yeah, he has a great fighter, tough fighter. He beat everybody by knockout, but he never fought anybody like Kovalev, like Underwater, like that kind of fighter. And
Yeah.
that kind of fighter, they are a really world championship.
Yeah, I would say, Beterbiev's fight against, Gvozdyk was a huge step up, for him when he fought him. And it was pretty one-sided from my opinion. I thought he did amazing. And Gvozdyk, we thought was a superstar ever since, the unfortunate knockout of Stevenson. He kind of jumped on the map as well. But between Beterbiev and Bivol, those guys trying to see if they can square up at some point as well. None of the undefeateds as well. What do you feel about those guys? It sounds to me like you're leaning more towards Bivol being the better fighter between those two guys.
Yeah. I think yeah. You're right. I think so. Bivol is a better fighter than Beterbiev. But it is boxing. It is an entertainment sport, and everybody say no. Beterbiev is a tough guy. He beat everybody. He knocking out everybody. But Beterbiev, he never fought anybody. And Bivol, he has been world champion. He already defended the title like 5 times. He's a great fighter. He already proved he's a great fighter.
Right. True. So on the side of that other fight that I mentioned, you got a couple of guys that were supposed to square up a couple of months ago, and you mentioned you've been training with him. He's a friend of ours, Sullivan Barrera, and Barrera's supposed to be fighting Kovalev. They're hoping to scratch that fight, put it back together again, and I feel that's a crossroads fight for either one of those guys. Whoever wins that fight is going to step up and be in the contention of the conversation we're having. Whoever, unfortunately, loses that fight, may be done. It's possible that at the end of the career. So working with Sullivan, how do you feel it's going to look when he matches up against Kovalev?
I think so. Barrera, he really deserved to be in that position because he fought Underwater. He fought everybody. He lost against Underwater by decision, but that was a really tough fight. Then he lost against Bivol, but Bivol is a really good fighter, and he beat Smith. He beat a lot of the tough fighter in the best moment, and I think so. Barrera, he deserved that position. I think so. Kovalev, he showed it the last time against Canelo. He was out of the ring. I think so. Kovalev, he already done, and I think so. Sullivan gonna get that. He's gonna get that fight.
Absolutely. He's gonna get that win. Yeah. See, that's the thing. You have to break it down just like you did. That's the only way to really look at it, because people just hear Kovalev and they think, well, that's it. It's Kovalev. He always bounces back. But what you just said is exactly it. And what people aren't realizing is what Sullivan's been through. I mean, one of Sullivan's losses was to Bivol. And then, Sullivan had that fight against Jesse Hart. It wasn't his night that night.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Jesse Hart, I forget about him, but yeah. It's like you say, I agree 100%. I think so. Sullivan is not a star boxing because he come from Cuba and he started late his career, but he's a great fighter and he deserves that bet, that opportunity.
He is. His only losses are to top guys.
Right.
That's the thing. His only losses are to guys that are really good. That are the top guys, and that's. I can imagine that's pretty hard on someone's career when you're at the top and the only people that you're losing to are just maybe that one notch ahead of you, and you got to chase that though. That's what's exciting about boxing for me. Is when these guys can come around. So, if Sullivan wins a title, man, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if he can beat Bivol. Go ahead,
I want to go back. To you, obviously, Marcos. That's why that's why we got you. And I mentioned it. We half talked about it, but preparing what you're ready to do after this fight. So again, we never want to look ahead, but we kind of have to for the purpose of the conversation. So say you get past Joe, there you are, you're ready, you're willing to take on any big name fighter at that point in time. And are we talking about, because I just want to clarify, if like Zurdo Ramirez was just looking for a fight because he had to fight somebody in order for him to be in that position to finally get that title shot because these other guys are working it out. Are you ready to jump in to the ring with somebody like Zerto? No belt on the line, understand? But
Absolutely,
okay.
because he got a big name. He's a Mexican fighter. I think so. That gonna be a huge opportunity for me to the world, boxing world know me inside the mix. That's what I want to be, inside the mix with the top fighter in the light heavyweight division. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay. So for sure, you're looking out for the best fight you can possibly make for yourself. And I'm sure
Absolutely.
with Kevin Cunningham, Stacey McKinley in your corner, people are going to be looking at you for sure for things like that. So you're in the right company. So let me
Absolutely.
ask you this. You talked about the training you've had. How limited have you been, or have you been limited at all with the COVID going on, being able to get the training in?
Yes. Hopefully, Coach Kev, we got a private gym. He got a private gym, so we have been close the gym for 3-4 weeks. Yeah, 3-4 weeks, no more than that. So hopefully we get a private gym, and we have been working.
Where's the gym, Marcos?
It's in West Palm Beach.
Oh,
It's private. That means it's none of your business.
Exactly. It's private. Exactly. That's what I say. It's private. It's not a business boxing gym. So hopefully we have been working. We stopped in March when they canceled my fight for 3-4 weeks, no more than that. And then we have been working. We have been working for a while and until now.
Well, I'm in West Palm Beach every day, so I work in West Palm Beach. I know all the boxing gyms in West Palm Beach, and I probably know where you're working. So
Absolutely, yeah.
Good for you.
And Steve takes some pretty good pictures sometimes. He'll come in and he'll photograph when the time is right. He'll take some good pictures of you in the gym.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
We can do it.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Yeah. And Marcus, I know I'm going to send you to Steve because I know he's got a couple of questions for you, but I want to ask you just one more kind of unrelated question, just from the standpoint of a professional fighter as yourself. Roy Jones Jr. versus Mike Tyson. Do you think that's something that's good for the sport right now? Is it something that you're interested in seeing? What do you think?
It's a tough question. For me, I love Roy Jones. I love Mike Tyson. They are my hero when I was a child. But now, I think so. They are trying to make some money. It's not. I think so. It's not really good for. I don't want to. I don't want to give my opinion against my hero. But I think so. It is not good for boxing. I don't know how they're gonna handle the fight. But I hear like they're gonna be the exhibition. We told Heger. You know. Roy Jones, he has been fighting. I think so. He did a lot. He fought like 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, he fought 2 years ago. But it is. I think so. It's not really good for boxing. Be watching two hero older. I don't like it too much. They are my hero, but I really don't like it.
Yeah. So let me ask you something.
Their time is done, and that's time to focus on something else.
Well, you don't want to see them get hurt. You don't want to see either of the guys get hurt. And Tyson can hurt anyone at any time.
Absolutely. Yes, I know.
Just to see that guy put gloves back on and go back into the ring, I think that's exciting. And if they treat it as an exhibition, if they're not going in there to take each other's heads off, I think it's going to be fun. And it's whoever is lucky enough to fight on that undercard is going to make a lot of money because that's going to be seen all over the world.
Yeah, absolutely, they're gonna be excited, but nobody wanna go. Nobody wanna watch Tyson looking bad or Roy Jones getting knocked down. Nobody wanna see that.
Yeah,
so,
no one.
It's like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to see Mike Tyson going and trying to take his head off.
So
Steve, I know
Marcos,
you got some
what got you into boxing? What was the first? What got you into boxing? How'd you start out boxing?
I started, in my country in Argentina, we love soccer, so I started playing soccer my whole life
Right.
since I was a child, and then at 20 years old, I tuned into the boxing for something for the life, for that in soccer I don't did what I was expecting, and then I say okay, I had to do. Yeah, I need to go to school. I need to work. I need to move to my mom house. Then I moved to the big city. I born in a little town like a farm, so I moved to the big city to get some work, study, and then was when I started into the boxing.
And you said, all right, enough of soccer, and I want to be a boxer. I want to be a professional fighter.
Yeah, no one's like that because I been when I was playing soccer, and I was a kind of the guy who when he lost, he get angry and I wanted to fight against anybody.
Yeah,
And then I say no, stop, wait a minute, you had to put that nervous, that feelings into the boxing ring, no, in the
yeah.
street. Absolutely. And was then when I moved to the big city, I decided to turn into the boxing.
So let me ask you another question. So who would be your three greatest fighters your top three?
Sugar Leonard, Julio Cesar Chavez, and Monzon because I am from Argentina.
What was the third one?
Monzon, Carlos Monzon.
Wow, that's good.
Uh,
Yeah. And what
Leonard,
about?
Leonard was one of the best fighters in the world. Julio Cesar Chavez, he's the Caesar. He's the Caesar. He's Mexican
Yeah.
warrior. Monzoni from my country he's a huge hero in my country and he represents us.
Yeah. So there's also another company upcoming fight sport that we follow. It's called bare knuckle fighting.
Mm-hmm.
With the bare
Yeah.
knuckles. So another boxer, heavyweight Shannon the Cannon Briggs, is fighting in September or October, I think.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's fighting. They haven't have an opponent yet, but what do you think of that?
I don't like it too. I like the sport we commission, we regular. I know right now we are in the year everybody like UFC because they is blurring with the whole face. That's entertaining, but I think so. Bare knuckle got the same fans, but I love boxing for the history, not only for the fight, for the history, and I think so.
Yeah.
This is
Well,
these are that's a sport. These are rest.
yeah. So you're like boxing through and through. You're a boxing fan.
Absolutely, yes, sir, 100%.
Yes, sir. Well, um, that's our show. Mike, do you have any following words from Marcos?
No, I'm going to say best of luck to you, Marcos, in your upcoming fight. We'll be watching you, rooting you on. I hope you can redeem because that needs to happen. And I hope you do it with flying colors. You get that knockout. I know you're looking for that knockout. Hopefully, you find that opportunity and tag him and get it right, and then move on to even bigger and better things. And for the fans that are watching the show, I just want to remind you what we're talking about. So Marcos Escudero is going to be fighting Joe George in that rematch August 1st, showtime, 9 o'clock. Marcos, if I'm not mistaken, I think you may even be the first televised fight on the card that night.
Yeah.
So you're up there in Connecticut. You're ready to go. You're in your bubble. We see you in the box. And so we'll be looking out. Hopefully everybody tunes in and checks you out. Should be a nice card. I see a lot of undefeated fighters on that card as well, so it probably will not disappoint.
I think we lost him.
He probably got a phone call.
You there?
I got a phone call, but I still hear. You can I don't know why
Thanks,
the camera is off.
Yeah, we can hear you. We just can't see you.
Yeah, me too. Me too. The same.
Yeah,
I don't know.
if you tap the screen, there should be something on that shows that little video camera.
Okay.
It should be red. Should be one for sound and one for video.
Camera.
He's on pause.
Yeah.
Well, while he's working on that, he can hear us. So
That's song.
So I guess Matt, Matt, what did you want to say to close out?
Well, that's it. I hope we can see Marcus. I just want to thank Marcus for coming on, and we're looking forward to August 1st. We'll definitely be watching. We'll be in your corner. You deserve that first fight, so we definitely want to see you come home with the win that night.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
So definitely, we want to have you on the show after you get that W. We'll talk about your experience with no boxing with not a lot of fans in the crowd. And Marcos, you have any following words?
Final words.
Yeah, absolutely. So, final word. Yeah.
Final words.
Thank you, guys, for everything. Stay tuned. I will bring some smoke, some entertaining fight, and that's what I use it to do. When I step on the ring, that's guaranteed it's a war. Absolutely. So
yeah, man. Well, we saw it last time, right from the opening bell. You were right in that guy's face. So we're looking forward to it.
Exactly. That's absolutely yes, Alan.
Thanks, Marcos.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot, Marcos. Good luck.
All right. Have a good week. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
Right.
Bye.
So that's the show. Brought to you by The Fighting News and Fusion CBD. We got the products. Go to The Fighting News. Go to fusioncbdproducts.com. Mention The Fighting News. Get all your CBD products there. CBD water, CBD day.
You can't just mention it. You got to use the code. You got to put in the code, The Fighting News. You mention, say, I know The Fighting News. They're not going to care about that. You put in the code. The Fighting News
discount. Code. The Fighting News. Code.
Right
to get your discount.
That's it. Right there. Good. Point to it, Mike, before Steve switches you around again. But I like that. We like that. So there
you go, Matt.
We got to get Steve one of those puzzles, where you switch it around. You drive. Your parents used to give that when you take a trip in the car, so you shut up before they had cell phones. Yeah. That's what we got to get Steve, so he gets all this out of his system and can leave us in one spot. Because man, I'm getting a little nauseous over here.
I'm gonna try my CBD vape next show.
Try it right now. Do it.
Maybe you're doing your CBD vape, and that's why we're moving around so much. But
that could be, Steve. Steve took everything at once. He wanted to make sure everything was nothing was expired over there, and everything was full potential.
Yeah. So your buddy, Mr. Theosumi Abias, was watching the show. Another heavyweight we saw at Palm Beach Boxing.
Yeah, it's great. Good amateur, definitely.
Watching the show, says hello.
Nice.
And, Mike, that you mentioned Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr.
Right.
Last night, Roy Jones Jr. was on Fight Bananas podcast, and he's excited. He's like,
why not? Right?
I'm excited. I want to fight. Like, who doesn't want to fight Mike Tyson? He never got a chance before to fight him.
Yeah, well, he wanted to fight him when he was still active in his career.
Yeah, of course.
And he would have, Mike Tyson's last fights with Peter McNeely and those guys were any indication, Roy Jones Jr. would have killed him.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
I was going to mention, guys, that I think this week, since we're going to be going live every night, right?
Yep.
let's dedicate a show to talking about that, and, possibly the history of each of these two fighters. Maybe compare some of the opponents that they fought before with the opponent now in front of them, because it's not so cut and dry. People hear Mike Tyson, they don't listen to anything beyond that, but there's a lot more that people have to hear. So I'm going to talk to you guys about that off the air, about possibly putting something on later this week. So we can
It'd be interesting to get like a newer boxing fan on the show, and then because we saw Mike's entire career, and I think that if you're under the age of 30, I think you have a lot different opinion of Mike Tyson and his accomplishments than do older people. Let's just leave it like that, and we'll discuss it during the show.
That's a great point, Matt. That's a great point, because people talk to me about Muhammad Ali, and I'm like, I've never watched any of his fights at length. Muhammad Ali, I don't know. It was before my time, So I came in just after his career was over, and I can't.
You mean just being a boxing fan, you never watched the Rumble in the Jungle or the Thriller in Manila just to see what it was like, or his first fights with Sonny Liston?
I mean, sure. I think, whatever tape was available for me to watch, I probably watched bits and pieces of certain fights. I don't know that I've ever watched any of his fights completely all the way through. I don't know that I have. I haven't.
Did you ever see the movie When We Were Kings?
I watched that movie. Yeah, I watched that movie. Hey, look, I saw the movie Ali with Will Smith. That kind of told me a lot about him.
Yeah, that's When We Were Kings was much better, much better done. It showed, it's like night and day. The Ali movie with Will Smith was decent, I think. I think he did a good job as an actor, but in terms of capturing the time period and all that, When We Were Kings is just, and I forget who directed it, but it was awesome.
But that's
you should watch
true,
it.
And your point, it makes a lot of sense. And I go back to, there was a fight that we went to, that we attended at the Hard Rock. I don't know how far back we're talking. Maybe it wasn't more than a year ago. So whatever boxing match that might have been within the last year, we were standing outside, and Glenn Johnson popped up, and I'm standing outside the main doors with Glenn for probably a good 30 minutes. We're having this extended conversation. Everybody's filtering past us walking into the arena. Nobody stopped.
They wouldn't let him in.
Attention. Nobody was recognizing.
Right.
Finally, somebody did stop, took pictures. Everybody else was like, "What's going on? Who's that?" I said, "How do you not know this man?" And I was getting annoyed that they didn't stop to talk to him. Like, do you not know who he is?
Yeah.
And whether it wasn't recognizable, or look, I saw a lot of 20-somethings and 30-somethings walking in that door. So they don't know, the superstars of the 90s. They don't know. So your point was well taken. They don't know.
Yeah, and
if you
we'll
don't
see.
know, now you know.
Right, because at the end
they know who Biggie Smalls is.
At the end of the day, Roy Jones Jr. is pound for pound one of the best ever. Mike Tyson, a lot of boxing, writers, experts, whatever, historians don't even have him as a top 10 heavyweight. Based on his opponents and his record. But one thing I want to just discuss briefly before we sign off is that ridiculous KO the other night with Sinisa Estrada and what was her name? Miranda Atkins. It was, and a couple of days have passed already. Definitely enough time for one of an official statement, either by Golden Boy or by Estrada's camp or one of them. What do you think should have happened in a fight like that, Mike? You have a champion, and they put her up against someone who should not be in the ring.
Here's
knocks her out brutally. Could have really done a lot of damage. The girl couldn't even defend herself. What do you think the consequences should be?
Well, here's the thing, and it's a very loaded question. It really is, because here's the problem, is that in women's boxing there are not a lot of professional fighters. They just aren't. So you get the same recycled fighters sometimes. You see some of the same fighters. That's why there's so many unified champions. There's not a lot of competition in each of these weight classes. And in this particular circumstance, they put somebody in who had a blown-up record. I know she was 6-0, something like that, but she hadn't actually beaten anybody with a winning record. Is that something like that, right?
Yeah, 5-0 or something like that. She never, but her fights were ridiculous. If you watch any of the tapes, she's fighting literally like someone who just walked into a boxing gym and has been training for 2 weeks, and probably even worse than most.
And I don't want to say anything bad about her handlers. I don't know who was training. I don't know the trainer's name off the top of my head, so I don't want to say anything bad about the trainers themselves. But sometimes when people are on a bigger stage and they're facing that kind of opponent, they're just not ready. Sometimes they kind of get in their own head.
Right. That was
she didn't expect her opponent to lunge across the ring like that. I don't think she was really ready. I think she needed some time to probably, get into that groove. But like a lot of fighters do, they need a couple of rounds to get warm. But her opponent probably was well aware of the fact that she was a slow starter and took advantage of that fact. Caught her quick. But the fact that she didn't know how to even defend herself and throw her hands up that quickly, that should have been the first thing. Just immediately throw up the guard. What's going on? You should have been aware of that. But then again, I could say the same thing about watching UFC fights. And I watch these lopsided, ridiculous one-sided UFC fights, and I can't understand how they even made it to the big show to begin with. But what should happen, they got to look back at the history of, first of all, was she prepared? How was she preparing? Was there any indication in training camp or anything prior to the fight that says that she couldn't have handled this kind of a fight? And who were her handlers? And have they put people in situations like that in the past? How much notice did she have? Who sanctioned that fight? And were they really paying attention? So there's definitely a lot of people they should be talking
You're talking about this?
Yes, we're talking about that, Steve.
If you run it back again, she tried to put her guard up, but her opponent's hands were just a little too quick. Quick.
Just so everyone didn't see it, I had to play it for everybody.
Yeah, but Mike, look at her feet too, man. She doesn't even look like she doesn't look like she has an ounce of athletic ability.
There's no question, what you're saying, but I don't think this was this matched up properly in any way. I don't think she deserved to be at that level at that point in time, not yet in her career. She needed to get to that point. That blown up record proved nothing to say that she should have been there that night. But as far as pointing the finger of blame, I think there could be several people. I don't think it's any one individual that probably should have been more aware of what was going on prior to the fight.
Well, it might be but before I say that, it's her husband is the one who's kind of handling her career, and someone posted an article. It might have been Derek online about this guy. He'd done the same thing to another fighter. I put someone in harm's way before, and it seems to be a shady character. So I didn't read that whole article. I don't want to comment too much on that. But with that said, if this girl was truly, let's just say she had a very, very limited amateur background. How many amateur fights are required before you turn pro, right? Who's looking out for that? Because I know I saw one of her fights was actually it was in an octagon. So she's not fighting real sanctioned fights. And I'm telling you, if you saw that tape of her, I don't know if it was first, second, third, fourth fight, whatever, but you would see this girl has no athletic ability. She's 41 years old. She started boxing when she was 39. It's ridiculous.
What do we got tomorrow night?
Steve, tomorrow night, we'll talk about tomorrow night.
Okay.
So here's what I'm thinking. I think the fair thing to do would be to declare that a no contest, because that's what it was. It was no contest. It wasn't a fight.
But
and I know there's a lot of, especially when you're building up a fighter, but Sinisa Estrada is not someone who needs building up. She's 18-0. she doesn't need to take any fights that are that are too easy to build up her her record.
But like I said,
So,
it's a lack of opponents, but even right now, it's more so because there's actually fighters out there that aren't even willing to fight because of the virus going on, and those that are willing to fight have to clear so many different sanctions to get to that fight. You got the bubble thing going on and everything, and we've seen countless fights being canceled over the last few weeks because somebody in somebody's camp tests positive. It's very taxing on them to prepare that much and then have a fight canceled. So it takes a certain kind of fighter to be ready to do that. And I just think, she couldn't get what she needed, but she needed to stay warm. Hey, this other opponent was willing to step in. It's not Estrada's fault. I don't think if you know.
no, it's not. It's not her.
Estrada came prepared. She knocked the girl out, and hey, it's a win on her. It's a win for her. However you want to call it, but I've seen guys. The bell rings. The guy steps out of the ring immediately after the opening bell. It's just declared a disqualification. If the person wins, the other person came prepared. It is what it is.
Yeah, well, that's very rare. This was I don't know. Someone should have been looking out. Either the commission should have looked at the resumes and said this is a tremendous mismatch. The matchmaker, someone.
So we got a show tomorrow night, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Good stuff.
Follow the fighting news.
Right, tomorrow night, we got Luis Palomino, Baboon, man. We've been watching him for a long time.
He's got the belt.
Yeah, and it's good to see him with the belt, and he definitely deserves it. I can't wait to talk to him about his career because back in the day, right, CFA and World Series of Fighting, he was killing people. He was fun to watch, and now he's back. Bare knuckle.
He's back. Tune in tomorrow night, 7:00.
Good stuff, guys.
That's
Fighting
it.
News. Follow us. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter.
Don't follow us too close. Stay 6 feet away.
6 feet away.
Mask up.
Wear your mask. Deuces. Good show, guys.
All right.
Thank you, Steve. We're glad
Good night,
you
everyone.
approved.